My goal here is to get a Sprite. So I'm going to ask for the date just. Then I'd like to get a Submariner non-date.
You know the date just's always going to be there, but do you know the Sprite is still going to be there?
Well, that's why it's my third
5
watch.
years down the line.
Hello, Stuart. We've got some great news for you. I know you mentioned that you liked the Yachtmaster 42 in white gold, and we've got one in for you. Would you like to collect it?
I would say to them, you need to double check your notes because it was actually the Pikachu that I was interested in.
I'm going to name 10 watches, buy or pass, at today's market price, assuming that you've got to keep them for at least 1 year.
The other question,
Right.
Stu, if I don't take this watch, am I going to be blacklisted? Am I going to be offered any more watches?
You can request 3 watches from your AD that you hope to be offered over the next 5 years. Which ones would you choose and why?
The OP would go, by the way, I wouldn't keep it.
Okay.
Yeah, that would sell that.
So what would your second watch
Obviously,
be?
if it was digital and Rolex found out, then I'd be
Oh,
blacklisted.
yeah. If it was on blockchain, so this is
It's
assuming
on the
that it's not on blockchain.
It's not on the blockchain.
Right.
I've got the physical papers with the watch.
Here we are at the end of 2024, and we want to share a watch dealer's insight on the watch market. So I've sat down with Stuart from Watch Trader, who's kindly joined me to give you guys an insight. So Stuart, I hope you're well, but for those who aren't familiar, can you give us a brief introduction to Watch Trader as a business?
Well, I can't at the minute, Harry, because you've not brought anything down.
Oh man, we've got no notes for this.
Okay, if you haven't watched our channel before, this is Watch Trader. We're a luxury pre-owned watch business based in the UK.
So we are going to talk about the emerging trends that have happened towards the end of 2024 and looking ahead into 2025. But before that, we talk about the kind of best performing models and the worst performing models in the Rolex catalogue. I wanted to reflect a bit on 2024 as a whole and the trends within it. So there has been a reduction in new watch sales from ADs, but this hasn't seemed to have affected the enthusiasm for luxury watches on the pre-owned market. Why do you think that might be?
I think the demand's always going to be there for pre-owned, Harry. So the price is reducing with the unworn brand new stock from the ADs. That's probably one of the reasons why the amount of watches coming from the AD.
You mean the market price?
The market price.
That they're worth. So at the moment, we're in a position where there's certain barriers in place with the ADs, but
availability being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially not able to initially purchase or express an interest in the watch that you're actually looking for. With the ways and means that they do things, where they'll try and start you down a journey, which is to get to an end goal.
Also, I would say another one of the barriers is that a lot of the brands that people want, like Rolex, Patek, AP, they're only available to buy in store. They don't have e-commerce, whereas the pre-owned dealers, they have e-commerce platforms. So if you want one of the models, you can just buy it and it'll be there next day delivery, so you've got immediate access.
Definitely a plus factor for buying a pre-owned, whether it's used or unworn. Whereas if you were looking to buy direct from the authorised dealer, it's a process where you have to actually physically go into the store.
I think as well, there's been, younger buyers are more prevalent in the luxury watch market
Definitely,
as well.
yeah,
The average age of a luxury watch buyer is coming down, and they've grown up in a digital era and probably they're more comfortable buying these kind of products online.
Definitely more tech savvy. They're used to buying products online in general.
We've seen in 2024 a wider rollout of the certified pre-owned programs. That's the Rolex one specifically. And this is where you can buy certified pre-owned from Rolex, and they are sold in the same stores that sell the brand new pieces, so Goldsmiths, Watches of Switzerland. Do you think the official endorsement of the pre-owned market has actually increased demand?
Probably not increased demand, but definitely increased awareness with the client potentially who would always just go to official Rolex store to purchase a brand new watch, and then they're being introduced to the pre-owned world. A lot of these authorised dealers already sold, or previous to the
certified pre-owned,
previous to the certified pre-owned, already stocked pre-owned prior to that.
They did, yeah. But it wasn't all under one category, was it? It was like you could get it from the individual retailers.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But now it's all brought in-house. Rolex are then servicing the watch, giving you a service card, 2 years warranty with the watch, charging a premium for doing that service.
Certainly for those buyers who, I guess, want that ultimate peace of mind, there's going to be some people who will see a benefit in that.
There's always going to be that. So there's always going to be that client who would only buy from Rolex, whether it's pre-owned or whether it's brand new.
Yeah, I do think though now you're going to find situations, or certainly heard, where buyers go in, they want to buy their first Rolex. They want a brand new one, obviously, and they might be told that isn't available immediately. They can register for it, but there is a selection of certified pre-owned available. The part that's kind of hard to get your head around as a buyer is that a lot of those models are actually more expensive pre-owned than they are brand new. Yeah. So that might be quite hard for them to get their head around.
I believe the watches are over 3 years old. So it's not something which it's current, so it's going to be a watch which is over 3 years old, but probably still in production.
Yeah.
It'll be a case of, if you want the watch now, we do have we'll have a selection in stock.
Yeah.
Which is our Rolex pre-owned range, or you can potentially go on the waiting list and
see how long it'll take. But I mean, some people might, they want to have their cake and eat it. They might buy the pre-owned one and then say, look, if it comes in 2 years, great. They'll sell that pre-owned one back and keep the new one, or go from there. But I presume the savvy shopper will just be a simple Google search and they'll be able to see the price difference between the certified pre-owned and going to a professional grey market dealer. And it's not like £500. Some of them are, like £2,000, £3,000, £4,000 or more.
It seems to be a big difference in price range between what a business like us would sell a pre-owned luxury watch for compared to what the luxury the Rolex certified prices are.
Yeah, so for the price savvy shopper, there's a lot better deals to be had in the authenticated pre-owned market.
Definitely, you're paying a large premium to purchase a certified pre-owned Rolex from the Rolex AD. And is it worth it?
Well,
in some people's eyes, potentially, and I would say majority of people's opinion would be it wouldn't be.
Related to that topic, you've got brands like Watchfinder, right, which are a big name in the pre-owned watch space, but they're actually owned by Richemont Group, which is a luxury group. They own brands like Cartier, IWC, Panerai, Vacheron Constantin. So they've got this portfolio, but they've also actually acquired a pre-owned watch dealer within that. And, again, that is another sign of the value that the pre-owned market has to these big brands.
Definitely. It's an ecosystem at the end of the day, similar with Rolex, similar with Watchfinder, like you've just discussed there. It's an ecosystem. A brand new watch then turns into a pre-owned watch. It has value, and there's money to be made in that market.
So how do you see the relationship between pre-owned prices and the demand for new pieces? So, for example, a brand like Rolex has a reputation for having strong resale value, and I think that attracts a lot of buyers to buy the new pieces. Whereas maybe a brand like Hublot, which typically if you go and spend £15,000 on a Hublot and then try and sell it within a year, you're going to get quite a shock, right? Do you think that's why brands value having good pre-owned prices so much?
It has to be. It has to work hand in hand, definitely, especially with the top tier brands like Rolex, Patek, AP. Having a strong resale value is obviously going to then encourage people to go and buy the watches brand new, definitely. I'm not even too sure. People who actually go out and buy Hublots, are they even aware that they're going to lose so much money? It might not even be the case.
Well, that's it. And obviously not every watch buyer is buying the watch based on resale. They're not bothered, some of them.
Because they want the watch. Maybe it's a new model and they want that actual watch. They want to enjoy it and keep it, which is perfect. That's what the product's actually there for.
Of course, it's there to be enjoyed.
Yeah, first and foremost, it's not a commodity to be traded. Yeah. It's something to be enjoyed.
Yeah. But I think the reality is, for a lot of people who work hard and want to enjoy a watch,
it's peace of mind. You know your money's always safe there or thereabouts if you're buying a Rolex watch.
Yeah, relative to other brands.
Exactly.
I'm going to move into, or segue into something that's we haven't talked about on this channel before, I don't believe, and that is the use of blockchain authentication technology, which is something that's quite new to the luxury.
You're going to have to educate me on this as well.
It's something that's quite new to the luxury space, and some brands seem to be embracing it, and other brands are kind of steering clear of the idea, it seems, at the moment, which I find quite interesting. So the idea being that the watch authenticity and ownership, or at the minute, which is represented by the papers, right, of a watch, that's stored on a blockchain ledger and it cannot be tampered with, and it's also kind of publicly visible. Some examples of brands using blockchain at the moment are Hublot and Breitling. So with that, you get essentially digital papers, right? It's not a physical card anymore. And in theory, that should put an end to papers getting lost, which is a great benefit. But then many other brands like Rolex, Patek, AP, they are sticking with traditional physical papers, which I understand is much more in line with their traditional and heritage values, right? So I get why they might want to continue with going down that route. Firstly, do you think Hublot and Breitling's approach of going with digital papers, that might appeal to a younger audience who are more tech savvy, or do you think it's something that they don't really care about?
No, I think so. It's going to appeal to the younger purchaser, so them brands probably are purchased by a younger person.
Okay, if somebody sells a Breitling, a brand new one, or a Hublot right now to Watch Trader, how do you deal with that? Like, it doesn't have a card. Do you just have to scan the watch and it pulls up their details and then you just log that in the system? Or do you know how it actually works?
They're going to be registered in some form because it's going to activate the warranty of the watch.
Yeah.
Then that will then need to be transferred to the new owner.
Yeah.
Again, it's collecting data, collecting customer information, knowing the fact that you've sold your watch.
Yeah, which I guess leads into the next point I was going to talk about. Imagine if Rolex were to replace the physical cards and adopt blockchain authentication. This could mean that if I bought a brand new Rolex, it would be registered to me on the blockchain. And then if I was to sell it down the line, say I have it for 2 years, the new owner would obviously likely want it registered in their name. Rolex would then know that I've sold my watch, which could, get me in trouble with my AD or anything like that. Yeah, how do you think that scenario would actually affect both the new and the pre-owned market?
I don't think that would ever happen, especially not with Rolex.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it would be in their interest, right? Because it would mean...
It would reduce the number of watch sales, definitely.
If I went and I bought a white gold Blueberry Submariner for, 37,000 or something like that, I sell it at a loss on the pre-owned market. If Rolex then immediately found out that I'd sold it and said, oh, by the way, you now can't have any more watches. I know you wanted a Sprite on Jubilee, but you're not getting it. It would be a pointless exercise, right?
Exactly.
So
Rolex would sell a lot less watches.
Yeah, it seems, and I wonder if that is why, or at least one of the major factors as why.
You would think so, definitely.
They still have the traditional cards, right?
Definitely. Rolex are in the business of producing watches for sale, so for them to do something like that, in my opinion, it would drastically reduce the number of sales.
We're going to move on to some insights regarding the recent trading at Watch Trader & Co. I wanted to talk about models that had the kind of biggest recent price change in the market. So we're talking maybe the past 3 months or so. And we'll start off with a steel Sky Dweller with a blue dial. I know the green's newer, but the blue was always a very popular dial.
I don't think has
that moved so much?
There hasn't been any drastic movements, Harry, to be honest with you, in terms of prices fluctuating up or down. But yeah, there's nothing major to report, to be honest with you.
Specifics are like, for instance, so is the Sky Dweller, would you say in start of September to now, it's the same kind of price?
Small time period,
so maybe
very
plus
similar,
minus
very,
500.
Very, very similar. And it all just comes down to supply and demand of that watch in the market. How many are there physically available in the UK to buy?
Yeah.
Say there's 20, there's potential for negotiation. If there's 5, there's very less potential for negotiation.
Yeah.
That's how things work.
Do you think the prices have hit a resistance point? Because if you take, for instance, we'll take a Batman, right?
It can't go, where can it go?
If there was no, zero profit for the original buyer at all, would that cause problems in the way that, people wouldn't want to buy them? The ADs would struggle to sell them as much.
We're the middlemen, we take our margin regardless, but if there's any changes in the market with regards to pricing up or down, it takes a little bit of time for that to filter through.
Yes.
Especially with us holding stock and for us looking to buy stock, for the customer to be aware the price has gone up or it's gone down.
Yeah.
That takes a little bit of time, but at the end of the day, we just buy and sell watches and make us a margin in between.
Okay, so if I run through quickly, Batman's, Bruce Wayne, that was obviously...
Yeah, they've softened. You're talking £1,500, maybe across the board.
Okay.
For something like that.
Yeah, on something like a Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So do you think in late 2024, do you think buyers plan to hold their watches for a longer time horizon compared to when people were buying in 2021 and 2022? What I mean by that is in 21, 22, whether it was buying new Rolex or whether it was buying pre-owned, a lot of the prices were going up or at high levels, right? So I think people felt they
you would
could
have
maybe
thought
buy and
you would have
hold for
thought there
less.
would have been a lot more trading during that period, like the volume number. As it stands, we've sold more watches in 2024 than what we did in the peak. Probably because there's a lot more part exchanges coming into us.
Yeah.
Where at that point it was just direct purchases, direct sales, buying, selling. Not as many part exchanges. So now we're gathering more stock. We'll have more inventory. So there's more watches coming in and going out.
Do you think then, say somebody's come in and they're trading in like a Datejust 41 and a Tudor Black Bay Pro, right? That's the two watches they've got, and they're buying a rupiah. They bought those two watches maybe earlier on, and they thought they were going to hold on to them for a little while, but they weren't really the watches they want, and they wanted the rupiah, but it was just so expensive. So now they've got into it at a more attractive price, and they probably plan to hold that rupiah for a little bit longer.
Yeah, and they're just leveraging the funds that they've got in the collection, the two watches that they've enjoyed, they've worn, but they've always wanted something else.
So there's been more consolidation of collections. People want to get that something new. They want to experience a new watch.
People still always want to get something new.
Yeah.
Yeah, people always get bored.
You can request 3 watches from your AD that you hope to be offered over the next 5 years. So imagine you're a brand new buyer. You haven't had a Rolex from an AD before. Which ones would you choose and why?
Well, it would all just depend on what your end game was.
That's
which
true.
watch your focus was
Yeah.
on purchasing or obtaining. So it would all come down to that, whether you wanted a steel sports watch, for example, the Grail, which would be the Daytona, or a precious metal if that was your Grail, an Oysterflex, whatever it might be.
So let me give you an example scenario. Right?
So are you sitting at the other side of the desk now, being the AD, and you make me put a list together or a potential package
pretty
to
much,
to take as much money out of my pocket as possible?
Well, that's one way to look at it, definitely. I mean, you can look at it, if you go in and you want a Panda Daytona steel, right, you're going to have a different strategy to if your goal watch is a Batman.
Who's going to wait 5 years for a watch? Jesus.
I know what you mean. Let me give you an example, right? So say I went in, I would say, okay, I'd quite like a Datejust 36 Fluted Jubilee blue dial. I think that's a lovely watch, and I think that's realistic that I could get that at
So
the
that
start.
your daily? Are you going to wear this watch?
Yeah, of course. Okay. So these are my 3 watches.
So you're not going to come round the corner and sell it to us?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm going to wear this watch, right? I think that's realistic that I could get that within a year. And then my next watch, I might go for a sports model, but maybe not the hottest. Like, my goal here is to get a Sprite, okay?
Okay.
It's a good watch, very nice watch, still hard to get.
What, Sprite Oyster 14
I would say
to 15,000 in the market?
Sprite Jubilee, right? So I'm going to ask for the Datejust. Then I'd like to get a Submariner non-date, okay? And then my goal is that I'd like to get a Sprite on Jubilee, so that would be my collection, right? And I think within a 5-year period, I think that's probably too long, I would be able to obtain those. Now, if I went in and my goal was to get a Panda...
What about next year when a new model comes out? You're going to change it? Are you just going to stick to your guns?
I'm going to stick to my guns, because I think I want to show the AD that I'm committed, okay? And I'm not just flicking to the new model just because on a whim.
You know the Datejust just always going to be there.
Yeah.
You know the sub non-date's always going to be there.
Yeah.
But do you know the Sprite is still going to be there?
Well, that's why it's my third
5
watch.
years down the line.
Well, that's true, actually. Yeah, it might have been discontinued by then. Yeah, that is a good point. So okay, if I was going for the Panda, though, I'm going to need to do something to stand out, because, there's going to be so many people wanting the Panda, right? So maybe I go in...
You're going to have to bring your girlfriend in. You're going to have to treat her to a load of jewellery, earrings, bracelets, that and the other.
And then say, hey, that sky dweller in gold on Oysterflex with a champagne dial that's in the window that you've had in there for 6 months, I'll take that.
How about the steel and gold with the white dial? Would you wear that one?
It's not for me, that one. It's too big. So yeah, you're gonna have to spend big early on and maybe go straight into less popular precious metal pieces in the hope that you make enough of an impression that, they look at your spend history and think, yeah, maybe this guy qualifies, If you wanted to get your Grail watch is a Pikachu Oysterflex Daytona.
Yes.
That's a hot model,
It
okay?
is.
But it is precious metal.
Okay.
What 2 watches would you ask for
So if this is...
to try and get it?
Okay, so if we had a viewer and that was their Grail watch, the Pikachu Oysterflex, brilliant watch, I would bring my wife in. Right. I would order her Datejust, stealing rose gold, stealing yellow gold, something like that. So that's her sorted out.
Yeah.
So one day just ladies, and probably I would go with maybe an OP. From
OP?
a first time customer.
41 or 36?
41.
41, okay. Any dial preference?
I would just go black, green.
Okay, yeah, nice.
The OP would go, by the way, I wouldn't keep it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would sell that.
So what would your second watch
Obviously,
be?
if it was digital and Rolex found out, then I'd be
Oh,
blacklisted.
yeah. If it was on block, so this is assuming that it's not on blockchain.
It's not on the blockchain.
Right.
I've got the physical papers with the watch.
Okay.
I'll move
so
it.
that the OP's gone.
Unless they offered me something else, because we get phone calls every day. I'm on the list for such and such.
Yeah.
But because Rolex is having a little bit more of a harder time to move watches now, they're using the lists, what they have for some models, to offer them different models. So maybe I got a call for something else and I might take that. For example, it'll be a Datejust. Okay.
So if they rang you up, you've bought your OP, right? That might have gone. Okay. They ring you up 6 months later and they say, "Hello, Stuart, we've got some great news for you. I know you mentioned that you liked the Yachtmaster 42 in white gold, okay? And we've got one in for you. Would you like to collect it?"
I would say to them, you need to double check your notes, because it was actually the Pikachu that I was interested in. Then you come to the second, you come to the other question, which we get asked every day as well.
Right.
"Stu, if I don't take this watch, am I going to be blacklisted? Am I going to be offered any more watches?"
It's a hard position, isn't it? That some people get put
I don't
in.
think that's the case now. I think
No.
just sit firm on the watch that you're interested in buying.
Yeah, so if you can say, actually, no, that I'm not interested in that watch. I'd rather it go to another collector who is interested.
Yeah.
That's a good signal, and your AD might respect that and think, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, well, I don't think they'll respect it. I think they'll just prefer to sell the watch.
Yeah,
But
okay.
yeah, I would stick to your guns. But I think that would be a nice 3-watch option if you go with the Oyster Flex Daytona, Pikachu of some sort.
Okay.
So make sure you sort your wife out. Makes it nice and simple with a Datejust OP, and hopefully at the end of the day, hopefully it doesn't take more than 5 years. And
I'd hope so.
A Pikachu Oyster Flex.
It's crazy that, isn't it? Like if you go in at 29 years old, they're telling you, by the way, when you're 34, you'll have, I don't even know what I'm doing this weekend.
That just goes to show the growth of the pre-owned market as well, and the volumes of the watches that we sell, because people want things now. People don't want to wait.
Nah, of course not.
People don't want
to wait. Of course
wait.
not, especially when you've worked hard and you want to treat yourself.
If people are so far into the journey already with Rolex and have had a long relationship with them prior to that, fair enough. But the younger generation who's wanting to buy the sports watch or whatever it might be, if we're talking Rolex here, a lot of the time they're happy to jump in, pay the market value for the watch and get it on the wrist, and off they go.
Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to name 10 watches, and I want you to tell me if you'd buy or pass at today's market price.
Right.
Okay. Assuming that you've got to keep them for at least 1 year and you'd like to have the best possible value retention, right? The first one is Datejust 41, Fleeted Jubilee with the blue dial. Market price on this is around 11 to 12k, depending on age and condition.
Yeah, why not?
Would you buy that?
I would buy that.
Okay, so it'll still be all right in around a year's time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You have to expect a Rolex price increase from the
January?
RRP.
Yeah.
So that's 1+ point, and yeah, how far can you go wrong on a Datejust 41?
Yeah, it's timeless, isn't it? Okay, what about a Yachtmaster 40 slate dial? Market price at the minute is around 11 to just under 13k.
Yeah, so what is it? 10,500 list.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, borderline. Yeah. Buy.
Yeah.
Buy.
Okay.
You're not going to make money. You're not going to lose much.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Enough. With the price increase that we expect to happen in January, it'll probably go up from 10.5. I wouldn't be surprised if it went up to like 10.9 or 10.850 or something
not
like
far
that.
from £11,000. So
what about a Daytona steel and gold with a black dial? Now, these are quite funny because it's a steel and gold watch, but you can buy them for less than a steel watch.
Probably talking like 18 to 20,000, depending on if we're talking pre-owned, brand new, that sort of figure.
Okay.
A couple of grand less.
Is that for the very latest model?
Yeah, the 1-2 reference. Anything above 20k is going to be something with a diamond dial. I probably wouldn't keep that watch as much as the previous two, but again, yeah, I would keep it.
Okay, definitely. So it's a buy, not a pass.
Yeah, buy.
What about the GMT Master 2 root beer steel and gold?
Again, prices have come down quite a lot. Well,
where do you see them at
considerably since the peak of what they were. The watches available low end from 13 to 16,000 is a
That watch came out in 2018.
2018.
Yeah, so it's been out for 6-7 years now.
yeah.
Okay,
So you
right.
can pick up a battered pre-owned one, not the best of conditions, ballpark 13,000, bottom end, right up to
So
around
if-
15.5.
So if you were paying, let's say, 15,000,
Yes.
do you think that's
23 watch,
fair to get into
2023
that?
watch, 15,000 as a ballpark. Yeah, why not?
Okay, so it's all right. You can't see, it's not going to be like 12,000 in a year's time, is it?
no.
It seems very unlikely, given that the retail price is pretty high now, isn't it? What about the Submariner full gold, yellow gold, with the blue dial? Obviously, the RRP on this is very high.
Again, how much more can Rolex increase the price on a piece like that?
Well, I've got the market price down here as 29 to like 30, just over 30,000. Would you agree with that at the moment?
Ballpark, yeah.
So, yeah, it's already under list. If you bought it now and you were planning on keeping it for a year, do you think that's a buy or a pass?
Difficult to say. Maybe it is a pass.
Okay.
Again, if that was the watch I wanted to purchase, I'll buy something which is a little bit older.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. So
It's
what
going
you
to
mean?
retain more. It's going to retain more of the money, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I wouldn't buy a brand new one.
So it might have a little way to
you're gonna,
go. But
you're going to get a big discount for buying that watch brand new from people like ourselves or the AD. But again, it's actually quite difficult to find brand new.
what do you like? Is the 1-1 reference the previous one, the 40mm one?
Yes,
Is that much less in the market? Is that like
depending on the year, but it can have a spread of up to £5,000.
right? Okay. So if you
As a
get the
maximum.
very earliest one, you can actually save quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, right, fair enough. What about the Explorer 2 white dial? I think that in the market right now, they're like about 9.5.
It's a funny one because we had a lot of these in stock, both
Had a lot of black
white
dial.
yeah, white and black, and they've seemed to have filtered through. In the last even a couple of weeks, we've sold quite a lot of them. I'm not too sure. For me, it'd probably be one I wouldn't buy.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of the less popular. It's less popular than a GMT. It's less popular than a Submariner.
The list price,
List price is 8.5.
8.5. Yeah, 8.5.
Yeah, so that's a pass on that one. Okay. What about the Deep Sea James Cameron? I've got market price here 13,000-ish, maybe 13.5. Do you think that's all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think your money's safe or thereabouts and something like that. There isn't so many around. The James Cameron with that dial, I think so.
It's a bit of a
something
niche
you can
watch, isn't it?
It's a niche watch, but
Because
all of these watches that you've discussed
Mm-hmm.
are tools which can be cashed out pretty easily.
Yeah. They've got enough of a following. I mean, what about the Day-Date 40 with the in-rose with the olive dial?
Yeah,
That's had quite a turbulent market
definitely,
hasn't it?
That watch at the peak probably was 75.
And then what's
There's
the
probably
lowest?
there's
it's been?
probably stories where people have sold it for more. That watch can probably be purchased
I mean, on the low end, probably 40, low 40s.
pre-owned 35.
Oh,
35,
on the
36,
low end.
on an older watch.
All right, okay, right, fair.
So you can definitely pick that watch up pre-owned because it's been out for quite a long time.
Yeah.
For under RRP.
If you were to buy one, let's say you get it between that, let's say you pay around list price for it. Do you think that's a buy right now?
I think it's a
would
buy
you?
right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What about the Air King? That's still on the market. It still trades a bit above RRP. I think it's 650 RRP.
£7,000 watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't really.
It can't go that far either way.
If you want an Air King, go and buy it.
Yeah. I actually think it's an underappreciated watch. The Sky Dweller Jubilee Mint Green, it's pretty much the configuration. It's got the most premium because it's the newest and it's on Jubilee.
Yep.
Do you think that makes it overpriced in the market right now? Or do you think
Well,
if you're keeping it for a year?
It's a Sky Dweller,
Mm-hmm.
and there's always going to be more popular dials than others.
Mm-hmm.
And as it stands at the minute, is the green, and I don't think that's going to change
Okay.
unless they bring something else out. And
So you think
it's
even-
always going to demand. So
Yeah.
if the green, so I think where the green is now, £20,000 Oyster, 21 Jubilee,
Yeah.
approximately.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that price is firm. The only way I would see the prices coming down, it would be in general.
If
for
the
the
whole
full-
market,
for the-
yeah. Yeah.
For
Got
the,
you.
for the
So let's say if it went down 500 or 1,000 over a year, all the other dials relative would go
exactly
at the same.
Yeah.
And it'd still be the difference.
Yeah, in my opinion. Then, but if next year Rolex bring out a new dial, then obviously that's going to take its place. You would have thought. Similar to where the blue dial was originally, before the green.
Fair.
But
okay.
if I had a choice, I would always choose the green over the blue, would you? Or would you prefer?
I'll go with the... Oh, it's a tough
But
one.
then it's
I was going to say the blue, but actually I'm not sure.
It's all personal preference. Some people prefer the white dial, the black dial.
True.
But if you do prefer the white dial, there's brilliant value because it's the lowest price one out of the bunch.
Mm-hmm. But I think people are influenced by the hierarchy of dials.
Yeah. You know, or the greens, the most popular, that's the one that I want, even though you might not actually want it, but it's one of those things.
And I think he's also, if you buy a more popular model or more popular dial, in theory, it's easier to sell because there's more buyers for that dial. It's kind of self-perpetuating, isn't it?
Definitely. We would sell 5 greens over 1 white all day, even though the white would be priced competitively.
Okay, well, I appreciate the insight. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing.
We're very close to 100k, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.